parting gift was her house. So me and my sister split the house. So I'm going to try and whack this mortgage down, get it as low as possible, and then just have some nice small repayments.
Do you want to go down that route rather than?
Yeah, I think.
Do you know what? I've had a lot of chat with people recently about kind of living.
Yeah.
And I said it's not how much you earn, it's how much you spend.
This is the thing.
Work on your expenses first before you try and change what you earn.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Well, that's the thing. I want less expenses.
The amount of people I know that earn like 200-300k a year but live a 500k lifestyle.
And that's the
And
thing.
then you've got someone that lives a 50k
Yeah.
but earns 30k a year but has a 10k a year
Yeah.
lifestyle. And the people that don't have the stress of trying to, and I say this all the time, it's basically because they want to buy stuff.
Yeah.
And they want to kind of live a life impressing people that they don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're miserable internally.
Do you think that's influenced because of today's social
Yes,
media?
massively.
Because everyone wants to be able to put up a post with.
Well, look, some of the most
things.
famous people on the planet, the Kardashians.
They're the ones
They're
that
all
do-
about that
they-
kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And it's unfortunately that's the way it's gone. And I
Yeah.
think that's why most people are miserable. But it's nice that you've gone right. Okay, rather than me, I've got some money coming in. I'm going to get a bigger mortgage and then stress myself out even more.
You know what I mean?
You'll be much happier for it.
My opinion now is limit your outgoings so that your current earnings become more valuable.
Well,
you have more of them.
Your disposable income goes up. Your stress goes down.
I have a bigger margin between what I pay out, and I don't need to go and chase a better paid job or go and chase.
Not only that, even if you do increase your pay, then you've got more money.
Then you've got more money. So it's just in all aspects.
People do it the wrong way around. They basically get the stress and then have to try and find the income to.
Yeah, that's what the Americans did. A lot of the Americans I know.
It's American dream.
Yeah, and it's just too much. Like
But
they end
did
up
that on
killing
purpose.
themselves.
Well, it's been done on purpose by the governments to try and get people to get loans.
Yeah.
It keeps the wheels turning. If everyone was like you and were like, right, I'm going to get my expenses down as low as possible, spend as little as possible, the whole cog would stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
The banks wouldn't make any money because they wouldn't have any interest on loans. They wouldn't have big mortgages. Do you know what I mean? It would ruin the capitalist society that we live in. So it's all to do with keeping it lubricated, keeping everyone spending, keeping everyone unhappy, everyone wanting more. That's the American dream. That's why it was invented.
Yeah.
It's a carrot. Come on, keep digging.
It's crazy.
Keep digging, keep working, keep
What's
working.
crazy
Want
is
that
that
carrot, want that carrot, want that carrot. Even when you've got everything you need.
What's crazy is people can't see through it. Like, I don't know why people can't see through that.
I don't know. I think it's because I don't know why.
Is it just because they're so in it?
They're so in it
that you're being fed it over and over again. It's very hard not to.
They don't hear conversation like this enough, and they don't
Well,
see,
and
they don't ever see people like you where like I'm actually happy.
Because they're all in this environment where they're actually almost they're baked in it. Like every day they're like getting their feed of it. It's like being in the sun now. You can only.
But
feel
it's almost
heat.
not cool to be happy.
So bullshit.
Everyone wants to be. Oh fuck! I worked so hard this week. I'm so stressed. I've got more debt than
I'm
you've
the
got.
opposite. I'm like.
Yeah, but they need to see more stories like you, because they don't. That's not sold. It's not marketed to people.
The way I look at it like this as well is, what the hell are you going to feel when you get to your 70s and it's all coming to an end? Your life's coming down to those final moments. Like, what are you going to look back and think? Did you have any time for you?
No.
That's what I don't want. I want time. Like, I've seen it in my own. I saw bless my mum. She lived her whole life overly working because she had a bad hand, and I don't want to be that person. Like, she's taught me in her life not to be like her, and it's not her fault. It's just that, you know, when you're a single parent and you're trying to keep a house and you're trying to earn enough, like, it's because in all honesty, what I found is that you need partnership. You can share the load of people, and unfortunately my mum didn't have that partnership, and therefore all the monetary side of things meant that it was even more stretched. And if I want to be the person, I don't want to be stretched, and I don't think you need to be stretched if your choices are wise, if you're not an idiot.
I think especially if you're fortunate enough to live in a country like the UK, there's enough opportunity here to earn an alright wage. There's a lot of Polish and immigrant workers and whatever else earning very small amounts of money relative to other people feeding their entire families because they've learned how to budget and being on an expense. And their disposable income will be vastly higher than a lot of people that earn 150k in the city.
I just like to say, people just want things. Like, people here, they'll get paid and then they head into central London to buy things with no real concept to why. It's just that it's because that's what you do.
Do you think it's though because you've got fulfilled from you're doing a job that is your passion? Do you think because you're happy in yourself?
Yeah, I think if you're definitely if there's a certain level of unhappiness, you don't really know what to do, and spending money. You think
spending money and
makes you better, makes you feel better.
But do you think you might just be very fulfilled in your life because you're doing and living?
Yeah,
that makes you happy.
I realise every day how fortunate I am with how things
That's
turn
amazing.
out.
I don't ever speak to anyone that hear anyone that says that.
Because the L, it's like when I was a teen, the dream was to be a pro bodybuilder, and if you look at the actual statistics of making it work as a pro bodybuilder, they're low. And I just a bit. And I had to be really convincing of myself. I had to believe, because otherwise I would have stopped back then.
Yeah.
I always said, Mum,
you believe in yourself?
Yeah, I said, Mum, it's going to work. It's going to work. And you know, the amount of shows I got beat up, or like, you know, there's many negative times, but I had to keep that mindset that in the end this is going to work out. I will get there. And I do. And I'm not someone that thinks I'm fucking greatest thing since sliced bread, but there must have been. I'm proud of the fact that there was something there that kept me pushing, even though that it looked like it wasn't going to work out, because it looked like all my money was going on bodybuilding. No money was coming in. I never thought I was going to have a house and have a mortgage. I thought it was going to be one of them people that rent.
How did you kind of make it work back then? Did you learn not to spend anything?
I was tight, man. Yeah, like I had to be. I learned what was valuable and what was not. I didn't buy what I didn't need.
Did you think as well that, I know bodybuilding is all about sacrifice, but do you think the mentality of being a bodybuilder and learning that sacrifice also helped you sacrifice financially and kind of, because the whole thing, bodybuilding is all about sacrifice, right? Yeah. You're never in a state of happiness. It's all about stressing your body to be, and that always takes sacrifice. But that crosses over, I say all the time, into business. That same mentality. Yeah. So you've been able to learn sacrifice until you got to a point where you did turn pro, and now you've actually able to.
I just learned the value of a pound, and it goes a long way. I think it was just like, and I also learned the value of, I respect the pound, and I also learned that it doesn't take a lot to be happy. The more you take on, the less happy you become, because you're stretched mentally. You know, like if you're a simpler life with the few things you love, is a great way to live. I don't know. I just realised that there's not much that I need. I don't need much. I wake up every day and I have a purpose for myself, which is the bodybuilding, which is ongoing. I have some time to myself where I like to do things that are nothing to do with it, like playing bloody PlayStation 4, doing podcasts, and just being at peace. And then the rest of the time, I kind of think about how fortunate I am that I have those things. So my time's filled. I don't need to do loads.
I touched on that. Do you think that you monetising on bodybuilding and then turning that into a passion and a job has actually been a detriment to your enjoyment of it?
No, because it definitely hasn't. Because at the end of the day, it's allowed me to be better at it, and I can only be thankful that I've got more time in the day to do what I like.
So it's never felt like a pressure for you to kind of
there's obviously pressure,
because you obviously got obligations now financially.
You do sometimes have the odd moment where you think, oh shit, fuck.
Actually, doing any job though.
But you do in any job. I always say to myself,
what would I be
do you know what I was thinking the other day? It was funny, man. I was thinking, imagine being a fucking delivery driver, for one of these food companies. Like let's say like Ocado or something. Yeah. If I turned up at someone's house, and I put their food in the door, and they go through it, and a couple of the items aren't the right items, I don't know if I could face being told that's wrong. No, honestly, because I've built such a life where no one can ever tell me I'm wrong, and it's not because I don't. I find it very hard to be told I've done something wrong, and that's why bodybuilding was good for me.
Right, okay.
Because there's no true. You can't really be.
No, there's no.
And the thing is that being wrong isn't that guy's fault. You know, he didn't do wrong, but yet society, the person's booked off him, blamed him, and I didn't want to be in a position where I get blamed. And it's because I feel like, why be put in that position if you don't have to? Like I just wanted a life where the only person that can ever say you fucked up is myself. I don't want anyone else to have that power.
That's with bodybuilding, but you also,
that's with life as well.
I know you obviously have now contractual obligations to fulfil and stuff. So there is still potential there too.
It's right.
But that doesn't bother you.
No, because I don't find, because my contractual agreements are just representing myself.
Okay.
Making sure that
you've made sure that the way that's all worked out, you're completely happy with, and it's in line with what you'd be doing anyway.
All it is you've got to be someone that's not super lazy. You've just got to make sure that every now and then you show what you are, because that is what this is. It's showing what you are and what you do, and you're just passing it on. It's just information. But Jordan hasn't put me in a position where I have to pretend anything. And if you don't have to live a life full of pretending, it's fantastic. Because how many people do feel they have to?
For me, I think as a marketer, any brand I work for, I'm like, authenticity is key.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why guys like Jordan and other supplement companies, and anyone that's good and knows what they're doing, would let their athletes be as authentic as possible. If they didn't like a supplement that they've got, you should tell.
He would rather me tell him.
Exactly,
100%.
because being authentic is believable, it's truthful.
Yeah. Mate, that's why he sends me the product prototypes, and I post online, and I'll say, I'm giving this a run. Guys, like, if I think it's shit, I'll tell Jordan it needs to change.
But you know why? Because in today's society where everything's online, it's very hard to believe anything you read. Of
course.
And when you read something that you wouldn't expect to read, like someone saying that a brand they represent put out a shit product, you then become very believable.
Of course.
But then anything you do promote in the future is going to be much more likely to be accepted by those people.
Because you've already got that belief, that faith.
So you'd almost, as a marketer, be inclined to actually put out false negatives.
Fuck up a few things,
on purpose, to make yourself look... Obviously not that you do that.
No, but it would be a very strategic
There's
move.
very small authenticity in the planet now. That's why guys like Rich Piano and stuff did so well, because they kept themselves true.
Yeah, like, it didn't matter that what he said was not what everyone agrees. What mattered is that he was authentic as fuck.
Exactly.
Like, he wasn't trying to go out there and just be like, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. He went out there and was like, I'm just going to say what it is. Some are going to come with me for the ride, some on.
Yeah.
And he generated a massive following of people that were like, you know what? I like this guy because at least he's fucking telling me straight. And it's all about that.
So how did you kind of like go from struggling to be like obviously live as a bodybuilder to now like living as a full-time professional bodybuilder? Like, what do you think? What was it that kind of changed for you in the?
So when I was an amateur, I just did anything I could to generate the money. So I would PT, I would online coach.
Yeah.
I would work jobs like I worked in like a.
Just get by.
I worked in a lighting factory.
Okay.
Where I was just smashing the metal, literally. And I was doing spot welding.
Okay.
I worked for removal companies. I just did everything to make ends meet, so I could put the money, so I could put the food on the table for the bodybuilding, because it was about paying for food.
That's crazy.
And then obviously along the way, as I started to do better, some people, I was fortunate enough that people wanted to partner up with me and invest some money, nothing that's life changing, but I always thought I was grateful for anything that came my way. And I had a couple of little kind of I suppose contracts even as a top amateur, which allowed me to ease off slightly on the work front and put more emphasis on the bodybuilding. So it was that gradual exchange from being able to commit this much to this much. And then obviously when I turned professional, that's when I was really fortunate with Jordan, because he obviously offered me a position in the Train by JP line, which came actually a little bit later, because I was with Caged Muscle and I was with Urban Lifters. What I tried to do is I tried to put my fingers in a few pies. I thought, okay, if I can get in there with a good company that does like straps and stuff, gym accessories, supplement company, then I don't need to ask too much of any one of them, and they're not going to feel like I'm just some greedy bastard.
You thought that?
Yeah.
You thought you were almost putting them out?
Yeah, I do. I still feel like that. I do.
That's crazy.
In all honesty, I still feel like that, and I still.
You're one of a kind, James.
I still wonder my worth, and it's funny. And so I always thought.
It's funny how someone that backs himself so much then still also is so humble to think that you almost don't like asking someone to.
I hate asking.
But they're offering.
I know.
Because they want you, because you're making their money.
Yeah, and that's one thing I suppose Yannick and my partners always said to me, is that you've got to know your worth.
You do.
I think I still haven't quite grasped.
You haven't. No.
But then again, do you know why I haven't?
It's endearing though.
The reason I haven't is because I don't feel.
It almost feels because you don't feel like you're working, because you're doing something you love. That's probably why.
Essentially,
if you felt like you're getting up every day and you're grinding for someone, you'd be like,
listen, if I did a week in a factory, I'd want $1,000 at the end of the week.
Exactly.
Yeah, but with bodybuilding, because I love it.
You don't feel like you're working, so therefore you feel like you almost shouldn't be getting paid for it.
Kind of, yeah.
You almost feel so lucky to be doing it.
Because I suppose there's that level of, the more happiness you sacrifice, the more money you want. And it goes back to what we just said actually earlier. Do you think that people are unhappy just like buying things and spend money? There you go. That just says that relationship's so apparent. Because
that's crazy.
When I was when I was the least happy, I expected more money. The more happy I am, the less money I fucking ask for.
That's interesting.
But you do make more money. Yeah. So it's this symbiotic relationship between happiness and income seems to work, because you're going to do your job better if you're happy. So it's strange, isn't it? Because it goes
from not.
It isn't when you talk about it.
No.
But it's funny that none of us stop during the day. Not many of us stop and think that. We stress ourselves out to earn the extra pound. When really, if you just, if the quality is there, and if you do something with heart, maybe there's a way that you can actually.
I mean, I've noticed that. I mean, I've taken on stupid amount of endeavours. I mean, I run several businesses in which one would be enough for one person at a time.
Of course.
And with the increase in income and the increase in kind of workload, I certainly haven't got any happier from it. I love doing it, but I've realised now that there needs to be some more delegation put in place. I actually need to back off. I mean, I've got a kid on the way in December. Like, I'm now thinking, right, how can I want to be busy and I want to have the things, but I want to be doing the things that I love. So I want to delegate out things that I don't might necessarily enjoy quite as much. I always thought being busy and being stressed is correlated with happiness and more income. And I got that wrong, and I've realised the last couple of years myself that that's not the key. I do like, the reason, I think for me as well, that because I run business, I look at business like bodybuilding. The only really quantifiable way of analysing success in business is the monetary reward. Whereas like with bodybuilding, it'd be placing or like being a certain body fat level at a certain weight. That, within business, unfortunately, the only kind of quantifiable target I've got is money. But that's not what I look at that, and I'm like, okay, that's a good metric to measure my success. But I also then have to take into consideration how happy my employees are that are working for me, how happy I am with the way the business has gone, morally, ethically, whatever it all is. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. But it certainly isn't more is always better. I think having a more simple life is definitely.
Should your focus be on the perfecting of those relationships with your co-workers or your people you've employed, would that then lead to more financial gain without thinking about the financial gain? Because, you know, like a lot of people who are untrained in business, what they will do is they just first and foremost think about the return. Whereas anyone I know that's done well in business, like whether they're in restaurants or whatnot, it was like, do you know what, Jay, I just made sure that I had the best menu, and when the menu was good, the business came and I earned money. What do you work with?
I got this wrong to start with. I was like, okay, it's all about earning as much money as humanly possible and pushing and getting as cheap a labour as possible, right? Wrong. Anyone that goes out with that mentality will crash and burn very quickly. It's all to do with your team. Businesses are not scalable on your own, right? And it's the same kind of thing that Jordan's realised, right? He's built a bit of a mammoth business now, but he's done that by cultivating guys like you and looking after you, first and foremost, regardless of their cost. Even if he doesn't make, like I've had months where I actually lose money and pay my staff more just to make sure that they're happy. I try and go out for dinners, and I'm trying to incorporate more like activity time and like leisure time, because when, and I spoke to you about this earlier off camera, when you treat people really well and you genuinely care for them, and your employees know that, there will be a time, I don't care what business you are, whether you're Amazon, you're Microsoft, when shit hits the fan, right? And if you're the arsehole that's been smashing the whip and treating everyone like shit and underpaying them for their work, or just paying them just enough and not really caring or respecting their work, they won't be turning up on the Sunday when you need them. The guy that's cultivated that relationship and loved his staff and really helped flourish good relationships, they'll bend over backwards and they won't ask for anything. They will be there to help you build your business back up. And that in itself is more important in terms of running a successful business. And not only that, I want to be happy in myself, knowing that the guys that I can go home at night and know that I've actually treated people nicely that day, and that they're happy to go to work.
But you also contribute not just to their financial security, you contribute to their well-being.
It'd be lovely if all of my employees said what you said. I mean, obviously, that's probably living a bit of a dream world if it was their passion to be doing obviously some of those things. But I know Jake behind the camera, like he's loving videography, and I'm hoping that I can cultivate that relationship with him where in a few years' time he's living his passion and like he feels like he's not working. Right? And if I can do that with everyone in the business, I mean, you're going to have some jobs like customer service. It's never going to happen, but as long as you can treat them as good as humanly possible, and you look after them and you just show that you appreciate their work.
I think if you show people that you value them, even if their job is not necessarily one that's, you know, all inspiring, they can still feel very purposeful.
100%.
And they can still feel very important and still very much part of something.
So the people come before everything, because then everything else falls into place. So it's definitely the people first. That's the main focus, and that's something that I always made a mistake about.
That's why with my bodybuilding, Elliot, if I'm honest, I care about the people that follow me. Like, not because I'm a care of how many followers I've got, but I care about the few people that perhaps aren't in a position to be me, but love to support me because they would like to be in that position. So I feel entitled to give my all and to be honest and to be kind and to show them that, you know, I know that you guys can't all do this, but I'll do my damn best for all of us, because I don't bodybuild just for me. Like, it's changed, the dynamics have changed. When I was younger, it was just about being the champ. I was looking at, like, you know what you said there, the money.
Yeah.
I was looking at being number one. Like, don't get me wrong, of course you want to be number one, but now I look at it like this community. Like, I'm like, wow, man, I've got, like, the amount of, like, messages I get when I compete and people that stick by me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying I do owe them anything, because they do have free will, but I am more than happy to give back. And I like these people, and I'm happy to build that relationship.
This is something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. It's width versus depth.
Yeah.
So if you focus on depth first, in terms of how much you give back to each person that messages you, spend time replying to everybody and actually appreciating them, rather than trying to get as many followers as you can. That the width will come after, but then the quality of the width will be really deep.
Listen, if you give someone a fantastic experience of yourself, and they build a good relationship with you, and someone else ever comes to ask of you, they're only going to share great things, and that's what kind of spreads the. It's the same with employment. Like, if someone's spoke to someone who's previously worked for you and they're looking for maybe perhaps a position, they're only going to hear the things that encourage them to want to even pursue it even more.
This is actually going to kind of more modern day stuff. Anyone out there that's like, I want to have an influential Instagram account, right? I want to be one of these guys that want to recommend something. I get paid a load of money for recommending stuff. Stop worrying about how many followers you've got. Focus firstly on the depth of the quality of the content that you're putting out, and the engagement you give to each person. Care about every single follower like you know who they are. And by the time you build up even a small following, you'll be a very powerful influencer. Ultimately,
it's about doing your job right, first and foremost.
And caring.
Because the thing is, if you're a reviewer, say, let's say you're a product reviewer online, do a very, very high quality review, because the amount of them out there are terrible, and and when that happens, I would never look at that person's channel again. Whereas if they did an excellent review and it actually appealed to me, and I thought, you know what, this person's intelligent, taking their time, giving me a good service, when there's a subscribe button, I'll press the subscribe button, because I'll be like, maybe something else will come out that I need a review on. And that's where people go wrong, like you say. They're trying to just, let's knock out 100 videos, like all really terrible quality, but just covering certain topics and hope that everyone starts to watch me. Like, it's not really about that. Do what you're doing right and well, and then it will come. It will come in time. You don't start with an army, you know what I mean? It comes.
Well, you have to build the respect.
You start with a squad. You start on your own. And then
you start on your own. You have to build the respect of those people.
And how can respect come of something that's not...
well, how can respect come from someone who doesn't respect you?
Yeah.
That's what it is. If you show respect to those followers, they'll respect you in return.
Exactly.
If you show them time and effort and engagement, they'll engage with you.
It's really. Do you know when I realised how important it was to be that kind of person that engages with people and gives them your time? Is when my mum passed away. The amount of people that had been through a very similar situation, and I'd have these really nice in-depth chats, and none of them were morbid. They were just like uplifting and life, like, you know, they were deep. And there was a lot more people than I expected came through and wanted to discuss the situations they've been through, and also give their condolences to my situation, which was fantastic. It's like, wow, like, you guys wouldn't feel like you could talk to me unless you trusted me, because that takes a lot of trust.
Yeah, huge. And
that made me feel good, because it makes me realise that you're doing something right already. So just stay on the path. You know. I thought it was a good thing to know, because you just realise that all the years of being yourself is okay. Because you do wonder, like, there's times where you think, am I doing things right?
And also, if you're not a complete arrogant arsehole, you also question, why would anyone want to listen to me?
Oh, of course.
Like, I ask myself, like, am I really interested? Should I really put this video out? And it's kind of nice when you get that engagement back, and you're like, actually, okay, some people do appreciate this stuff, and they actually have listened, and maybe I will carry on. It's sometimes nice to get that confirmation that
definitely
you're putting out something that's actually not too bad.
I agree. Absolutely.
God damn, it's hot.
It is, isn't it? It's a warm one today. Phew.
It's nice and cool in here.
He's in
cool in the shade.
You got the old veins pumping.
Fat boy veins. They're not like anything. Pre-show veins.
Look at your arms pump a lot. Arms and calves.
Trying, man. Arms is really just, again, it's just like everyone says, just concentrate on the quality of the exercises.
With arms for me, he's got genetically good arms. Mine are shit.
Yeah, isn't it?
Mine are shit.
A horrible body part, mate. I hate them as well.
Oh fuck! I'm having to bang them like I am. We come out. I nearly threw up in arms the other day.
Really?
Yeah. I've never nearly thrown up in an arm session.
I found that I've just found maybe 2 or 3 exercises that work, and I've just stuck to those.
Really? Is that what you've done?
Literally.
Progressed
Just like, okay, let's just do those exercises. And
I think when you have a weak body part, it's all about the quality.
yeah.
Really feeling it.
The biggest mistake I used to make with arms was I would feel like tagging more and more of arms on the end of every session, and then you end up just overdoing it.
We've just put in a fucking horrendous arm day, haven't we? So I literally was like, okay, I need to treat arms like the legs.
Yeah.
We call it arm leg day.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm like, right, we're going in today, and they're going to get focused on. Because what I ended up doing was tagging them onto the end of sessions, but I'd give them like half-assed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really like.
Yeah, no stimulus.
Now I get DOMs in my arms after every session. I'm like, okay.
And have you found that's been beneficial?
My arms have been growing. Yeah.
Plus, it gives us.
But not only that, we analyse which parts of the arms need to come up.
Yeah, you got
and then pick the movements that bring them up.
Whether you should be doing like reverse curls. You know.
Like for me, I realised my long head, my tricep.
You need some
was
overhead.
really weak. It needs more. So I picked all the exercises I could feel that on most, and then just progress those.
Yeah, I found with like long head, overhead stuff is really good for me.
Yes.
Found it gets into the big belly.
Yeah. Well, we do a lot of like the 2 main things we do is like skull crushers, don't we? But like all the way back, so it's fully stretched, and then almost push out rather than up.
Yeah, rather than that's what I always say. Like when we got like say I got the lads lying down. Like, don't kick that to the sin and kick it to me.
I said, like, I pretend I'm hitting him in the nuts when he's sitting behind me. So I'm trying to push it at him. Yeah. That's funny we said. So then we also do the seated cable one with the
the EZ kind of attachment, or the V or the V.
Yeah.
Either, as long as your elbows are up,
it
kind of forces
that quite a lot. Yeah, it's really good that.
Forces a lot more recruitment.
That's new for us as well because the old gym didn't have that.
We were putting in a little bit of a dead stop close bench. It was quite good.
Yeah.
But I found that a bit taxing on my rotator cuff actually.
Yeah, I find it gets in here.
Yeah. I couldn't keep it off my chest and shoulders enough to.
Because it's narrow, like a wide press, it's easier to brace because it's in line with your shoulders.
Well, it is when you're wide.
So like you're like that. Whereas when you bring that in narrow, what are you doing? You're rotating the shoulder without meaning to.
Yeah.
So it just forces rotation, and that rotation's ultimately going to lead to that pec like kind of contraction and that shoulder lift. Whereas you can't do a close grip tricep like that because it's not close grip tricep press, so it's a hard one.
Yeah.
That's why like I don't mind like a V bar. And like bracing like that, and then as I push I kind of lift, so as I press away I actually pull back so that it forces more kind of retraction in the shoulders.
Your arms come up a lot because I remember your weaker part when
100%. Fucking hell, there's
your front double now, they pop.
Yeah, the biceps are getting a bit better
because I was saying that I changed the way I pose my front double now. I lean slightly to the side.
Funny, gives it more.
Well, because I'm quite wide.
Yeah.
If you're not filling up your
all the
frame,
gaps,
it's easier. I've noticed a lot of the taller guys, like Chris Bumps and stuff, when they do those kind of poses,
they come in.
They come in a little bit, so they
close up one side,
close it up a little bit,
twist a little bit.
Yeah.
That angle gets
So I noticed if I pose differently as well, I don't have to have the same amount of like thickness.
Yeah, someone like I suppose like a Luke Sando can literally just stand dead on.
The guy's so thick.
Bodybuilder, you should.
Well, if you're Dorian Yates, you can just go.
Just
there. I basically said, if you imagine a silhouette, it's how many holes can you see in it?
I'm like, the better bodybuilder, there's less holes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of, I'm like, I've got a lot of holes, so how can I pose it so there's less?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I imagine in my head. I'm like, how can I close all the holes up when I pose?
That's a good point. It's a good way of doing it. I like that idea. I think that's a good way of.
And then trying to pose it in the most aesthetic way as you can.
Well, that's it. First, it's blocking the holes, and then when you look, you block the holes. You look at your shadow, you block the holes, and then you look in the mirror, and you're like, "Fuck, I look really contorted."
Like a blob.
Like, oh no.
A bowling ball.
Yeah. We've got the posing room. Have a look at you today if you want.
Fuck. There's no fucking.
Little look.
No hiding.
This is it. Square foot and a look. Oh yeah, there's the famous posing room. We go in the studio. That's where I do my pictures. It's really bright white light.
Oh god.
But it means you can't hide shit.
Oh god.
And it's got a little bit of downlight, so it gives you a little bit of definition as well. It's like it's good to
have definition to have definition.
It depends on the light. The worst is like if you've got a room that's just got lights and mirrors all around the sides because the light just bounces all around you and there's nothing to be shown. Yeah, it's got to be down lights, but
you look very good, man.
I appreciate
awesome.
it, man.
Really awesome,
man. Just Chris is happy. Like I say, I've been working with Chris for a few.
Well, it's nice because obviously I've been around a lot of big guys now. I can really tell. Before, when I used to see big guys, I was like just in awe. You're probably the same. You know, when you're younger. And
yeah.
Fuck me, that guy's massive.
Before social media, really.
But now I can kind of tell. Obviously, being around Jordan, Sass, and everything else, I'm like, and seeing you before, I can tell the quality of your body.
I think there's just more density now.
I haven't seen you for a long time in person.
Yeah, I don't think we've really.
The last time I saw you was with Rebecca. There was your last off season.
Yeah.
Before you had that obviously very successful period.
Yeah.
And then now you're obviously filled out again post that part.
Yeah,
I can just see the quality.
Yeah, I think
areas you brought up with your weak areas.
We're hitting that age now as well where your body starts to look a bit more.
How old are you now?
30. So the body's just like
young.